back, movie lovers. It's the Classy Reviewer. Now, I normally review movies, but this year all the movies were terrible, and I have something far more interesting to show you. If you follow music, you probably know about this man. His name is The Weeknd, and he's currently one of the coolest living musicians. When he's not busy sweeping the Grammys, he's writing #1 songs with Ariana Grande and Post Malone. But I bet you didn't know that he is also a convicted cinephile and has spent the last year and a half building up one of the most ambitious cinematic narratives ever conceived. Unbeknownst to the public, his entire career has been carefully crafted to create a character, the ultimate fusion of pop culture and performance art. This persona is so complex that until this day, no one has truly been able to explain its purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, I am about to reveal the entire history of this man's vision and the disturbing secret that lies behind it. So strap in and prepare for a comprehensive breakdown of The Weeknd's Joker phase. Let's start at the beginning. Abel Tesfaye, known only as The Weeknd, was originally a Canadian pop artist known for his sultry slow jams and eerie falsetto. With the help of rapper Drake, he was able to become one of the most iconic musicians of the 21st century, winning numerous awards and earning the nickname Starboy. However, Abel was never quite satisfied with fame, and in 2016 he disappeared completely, leaving fans with more questions than answers. Then, on January 8th, 2020, a cryptic tweet appeared on The Weeknd's official Twitter account, his first in years. "I stand by my last joke." This was especially concerning because he had not actually made a joke prior to this date, leading many to believe that he was planning something funny. However, the tweets continued over the next few days, becoming darker and more incoherent until they culminated in the release of his new music video, Blinding Lights. This is where things really started to get weird. I'm going to walk you through the video, frame by frame. While you are watching, note the eerie similarities to the 2019 film Joker. Warning, there will be spoilers. We open on The Weeknd's face, crazed and bloody, lips contorted into an almost inhuman smile. Immediately, we recall the Joker's iconic smile, edged in human blood to suggest the paint of a clown. He is exhibiting what movie experts refer to as the Kubrick stare, the first clear indicator that he has lost his sanity. We are no longer dealing with the wholesome, polite man named Abel, but a fiend inhabiting his body. All the rules are out the window. Suddenly, we see The Weeknd, dressed in a dapper red coat and stumbling through a city with a lurching, tortured stance. He then chases a bird, and it was in this instant that I was 100% certain that he is playing the character of Arthur Fleck, the hero of the movie Joker. We are witnessing method acting on the level of a Heath Ledger or a Jared Leto, where the man has become one with his character, causing him to act out a movie as if he is living it. He begins to drive a car very fast, which to my knowledge did not happen in Joker, but then he walks into what looks like a comedy club, and we are reminded that Joker started out in a comedy club before he made it to TV. Interestingly, the color scheme of the comedy club is reminiscent of the Mod Club Theatre, a famous venue in Toronto where a young Weeknd played his very first live show back in 2011. It is clear that he is asking us to recall his unlikely rise to fame to establish his character's humble beginnings. At this time of his life, he was also a heavy drug user, and he is seen here smoking some sort of tobacco, which he then flicks into the street before beginning to dance in the street. The Joker's influence on his mannerisms and dance moves is unmistakable. We also see flashes of this woman, but it is not immediately clear who she is. At first, I thought she could be the Joker's mom. But then when I saw him eat 2 cherries and fly through the air, I realized that she was actually Sophie, the love interest from the movie. Now, it's easy to tune out The Weeknd's lyrics, but if you listen carefully, you can hear him sing, "I can't see clearly when you're gone." There is a chilling scene in the movie Joker where he realizes that he's been imagining his relationship with this woman all along, causing him to snap and start killing people without remorse. The Weeknd has always been open about his complicated relationships with women, and perhaps his 2019 breakup with model Bella Hadid was the inspiration for this Joker-like character. We do not see this woman in the second half of the video, and because of this, The Weeknd's vision slowly becomes more deranged and warped until he spirals out of control. He begins to fight 2 men in a scene reminiscent of the haunting subway scene from the Joker movie. We do not see what happens next, but then we see The Weeknd sprinting out of the building with the iconic Joker run, and we know immediately that he has murdered them and painted his face with their blood. The video closes on a prolonged maniacal grimace as The Weeknd comes to terms with his transformation. Obviously, this video had earth-shaking implications. While it strongly suggested that The Weeknd was now capable of killing adult men, as of today no evidence has surfaced that he has done this yet. However, the video felt incomplete. Everything seemed to be there: the rise to fame, the inciting heartbreak, the departure from sanity. However, it lacked a conclusion. Now that The Weeknd had transformed into the real Joker, what was he going to do next? We would get the answer sooner than we thought. Just 12 months later, The Weeknd premiered the Save Your Tears video, which featured a grotesque, unrecognizable version of The Weeknd, performing in a dimly lit masquerade. Although he reprises the Joker's red jacket, this video is seemingly unrelated to the premise of the first, until he begins to dance with a woman, who is also clearly a reference to Arthur's love interest in the movie Joker. And then we see it, a gun behind his back. he is going to commit murder. He begins to shoot wildly at people all around the room with the psychopathic glee of the Joker. And then, standing on stage for all to see, he shoots himself in the head. It couldn't be more clear. If you've seen Joker, you know that his biggest fantasy is shooting himself in the head on a talk show. But when he gets the opportunity, he realizes that he actually just wants to shoot a talk show host. While the rest of us were sobbing in our seats, The Weeknd was taking notes. He didn't see this as the tragic result of a neglected individual's mental decline, but as a triumph. Unknowingly, his whole career had been developing in parallel to the Joker's, with an unexpected rise to fame that would be cut short by a monumental breakdown. And so, The Weeknd developed this character as a means to make one final statement for the world to see, sabotaging his career in an act of revenge. So now we have to ask ourselves, who is The Weeknd's Murray Franklin? Who is a man so outwardly charismatic yet detestable in spirit that The Weeknd would want to murder him in cold blood on live television? There are many suspects, but only one man could have inspired such resentment through years of bullying, hypocrisy, and defilement of the comedic genre, and that man is Jimmy Kimmel. It's no secret that Jimmy Kimmel has been a critic of The Weeknd's music. In one segment of his show, he compared his acclaimed album Trilogy to a dog dumpster and urinated on a picture of The Weeknd's lips. He also took to harassing the musician on Twitter so severely that The Weeknd actually refused to perform on his show. Yet now, for his first live performance in over 4 years, The Weeknd was suspiciously eager to debut his new single on Kimmel's show. Why could this be? The answer is simple. The Weeknd wants to kill Jimmy Kimmel, Joker style. Now, this raises the question. Why did The Weeknd not do this when he had the chance? He was on the Jimmy Kimmel show and he did the song, but he didn't perform his final joke. At first, I considered several explanations. Perhaps it was too early. The Blinding Lights video, if you remember, premiered on January 21st, 2020, just over a week before his Kimmel performance. Perhaps Jimmy took him up on his offer too quickly, and The Weeknd felt that there was not adequate time for the genius of his plan to dawn upon the public. Or perhaps, more likely, no one cared. If you look at The Weeknd's YouTube comments, people are not talking about this. No one seems to have any clue. When I saw this, my heart sank. The greatest concept ever executed by a musician in history, and the world wasn't ready for it. I began to wonder if all my research was for nothing. Then I noticed something. Look at Jimmy at the beginning of the video. There is a clear white line around the border of his head. This man is clearly not in the same room as The Weeknd. He was actually filmed separately in his baby mansion and then digitally added later. Once I understood this, everything became clear to me. Jimmy was initially supposed to do a full interview with The Weeknd, just like in the movie. You can see echoes of this in the scene where The Weeknd stands in front of the crowd, a shot that is eerily reminiscent of the Joker's introduction. However, during his rehearsal, The Weeknd must have clumsily dropped his signature gun, perhaps in an homage to the hospital scene of Joker. Jimmy caught on to his scheme and fled the studio, leaving the clearly unhinged musician to perform alone for a crowd of unsuspecting people. Does this make Jimmy a coward? Yes, someone could have easily been hurt or killed in his place. However, he and The Weeknd both knew that it wouldn't suffice to kill an innocent stranger. To fulfill the prophecy, The Weeknd needed to recreate the entire movie from beginning to end, from troubled beginnings to a brush with fame, and then a descent into career-ruining madness culminating in a brutal televised murder. Somewhere out there, The Weeknd is biding his time, waiting for the next opportunity to book an interview with Jimmy Kimmel, something no sane man would do. This story is not over, folks. The Weeknd is going to murder Jimmy Kimmel, maybe in 1 year, almost certainly in 2. This will happen, and I want it to be known that I was the first to break the news when everyone else was too scared to talk about it. I do not condone his actions, but as a film critic, I understand them on a deeper level than the average person. There is more to come, and so I eagerly await the next chapter of The Weeknd's transformations of Joker. So stay tuned and remember to subscribe.